So, if you are thinking about pre-ordering Destined Rivals at market price, a little bit under market price, a little bit above MSRP, whatever price point you're paying, I wanted to make this video for you to hopefully help and maybe guide you with what sort of prices that you may feel that are reasonable and maybe comfortable paying. Right now, the current prices of Destined Rivals products, I believe, are extremely high. I've talked about it before. I'm not pre-ordering at these current market prices. However, I'm not going to tell you what to do if you think right now is the time to buy because they're going to keep going up or whatever reason you may have. That's perfectly fine. Me making this video is not to tell you what price point to pay, but I guess sort of a guide of what types of products, at least according to Journey Together here, which I'm going to use as a data point, which products see the most decreases and sort of give the reasonings why. And hopefully this video will give you some sort of guideline, knowing, I guess Journey Together, which is also a main set like Destined Rivals, which products saw the most decreases, which products saw the least decreases. So maybe this could help you with your, pre-ordering strategy with Destined Rivals, maybe what products to buy, at certain price points, and this video hopefully will just help you with that. So let's just get into, the data with Journey Together and talk about which products saw the most and least decreases. So Journey Together, like I said, is a main set, and so is Destined Rivals, so they're pretty comparable in terms of sets. It's not like I'm comparing a specialty set and a main set. They're both main sets. So let's first look here at the booster box. So Journey Together booster boxes, before being released, they reached 300, but just a few days before the set was released, they dropped to 250. So from going from 250, and then when release day hit, and now we're a few days later, almost a week, they're right now sitting at around $220. This is just a listing here that's super cheap, but other than that, there's a lot of listings in the low 200s. So it dropped what? $30. So if you do percentages, we do 30 divided by 250. That's what? A 12% drop. Not a very big drop. Why didn't it drop more than 12%? Why did it only drop that much? Well, it's pretty simple. Booster boxes don't get sold in stores, okay? In stores, I mean retail stores. Booster boxes do not get sold at Targets, Walmarts, Best Buys. And therefore, you can't have people scalping and going there and automatically flipping them. You still do have people that were able to get, Journey Together at MSRP, maybe through Pokemon Center, maybe through some sort of other website, maybe under MSRP. You still have those people flipping, but there's just a lot less product that's being automatically flipped because there's not that ability to go inside of a retail store and scalp it and flip it. And therefore, we see the price drops for booster boxes not being as extreme as other products. So I will say this: booster boxes, out of all the products that you're going to see here, they see the least amount of drops. At least, what we've seen in history. The same thing happened with Surging Sparks. The booster boxes dropped from 161 MSRP to 150. Very little price drops. And the same thing we're kind of seeing here with Journey Together as well. Very small price drop. Not a big deal. I know a lot of people really thought this was going to go to MSRP. I originally said that, but that's when the boxes were only $200. But since it reached like 300, but then it dropped to 250, I didn't really think I was going to go back to MSRP, and it didn't, because for it to go back to MSRP, it would have had to drop a lot. So that did not happen, and I think this is a lesson, I guess, for some people out there that may have thought that even though it was at 250, maybe it still had that chance of going to MSRP. And you can see here, it didn't happen. And guess what? This is with an example of Journey Together, which is obviously not as hyped up as Destined Rivals. So that whole theory with prices dropping MSRP, it didn't happen with Journey Together. It probably won't happen with Destined Rivals. So hopefully this is, for you guys out there that maybe thought it was going to happen and it didn't. Destined Rivals, it's probably not going to happen. But prices did drop, but it was very insignificant in the grand scheme of things, only being around 12%. So booster boxes, based on data here, they see the least amount of drops. So I would say booster boxes, whatever price point it is just before the release date, most likely it's going to drop less than other products. So now let's go on to another product. So let's go to the ETB. So these saw massive price drops. I mean, these dropped a lot. And the reasoning, and this is for basically any other product other than booster boxes, or I guess PC ETBs as well. Products that can get scalped from retail shelves, from Best Buy, Targets, Walmarts, any of those products that you can find readily at stores, those are the products that see the biggest decreases in price after the set releases. Why? Because people can go in stores, scalp them, market gets flooded because people are just automatically, whatever's on retail shelves, get put on the market, have a first few weeks, ton of supply, prices drop tremendously for these products. And we saw that here with the ETBs. At one point, these were $130. And what are they at now? They are at $80. So if we do some quick math, we can see how much they dropped. They dropped, like 40%. That's like a 40% drop, which is pretty insane. You can see here 130 to 80. Yeah, big price drop. And, this was sort of to be expected, though. Like I was telling you guys, you can go back. It was at 120. I said, you guys, this is going to drop a lot. I said it was going to probably drop in the 80s, possibly in the high 70s. And what happened? They dropped to $80. When you see these big price drops, like I said, it was expected. I knew it wasn't going to stay at 130 for a normal ETB. I mean, that's just absolutely crazy. But yeah, I mean, it was just so unreasonable. And hopefully you guys did not buy at, this price point, because it's ridiculous. And people that paid it, hopefully, they didn't buy too many, because yeah, you would have lost a lot of money if you were really heavily speculating that prices were not going to drop. So seeing these significant drops with the ETBs, with Destined Rivals, I would be careful, because you're seeing this with Journey Together. Destined Rivals, the price drops may not be as extreme, but it also could be, because the prices are a lot higher than Journey Together. So take this as an example of the ETB. Even though it was 130 at one point, it dropped to $80. So very big price drop. So be careful when buying, Destined Rivals normal ETBs. As we can see, we're Journey Together, they dropped a lot because they were able to get scalped. Now another product, the booster bundle. At one point, this was $70, which is crazy. That's how much a prismatic booster bundle was at one point when they got released, and they dropped, which is ridiculous. And for a main set that has a booster box, a booster bundle being $70 is absolutely crazy. So the same thing with this. I said the same thing. You can find this at retail stores. Therefore, it's gonna drop a lot. What happened? It dropped a lot, from $70 all the way now to $45. So pretty big price drop. That's like $25. Very big price drop, but it was expected. All these products, I'm telling you, you can find at retail shelves. These are the ones you gotta be careful of, and most likely, pre-ordering them is not gonna be a smart idea, because they're just gonna get flooded into the market. It honestly doesn't matter if it's the most hyped up set like Destined Rivals. It's gonna happen. So, these are just some examples of retail products. There's some other ones. There's sleeve, blisters, 3-pack blisters, and I didn't include them in here because they're kind of more niche, kind of more relevant products, and these are the main ones. But those are also, count towards the whole thing. With, if you can find that retail shelves, they're going to drop a lot. Now we go to a more interesting situation here, the PCETB. Now, the PCETB, it's exclusive, right? They didn't. I don't think they got restocked since release day, which is not surprising. It didn't happen with Prismatic. I didn't think it was going to happen with Journey. Probably not going to happen with Destined Rivals, right? PCETBs definitely, even though this is an exclusive product, they drop a lot on release days. It just happens. It happened with Prismatic. It happened with Surgic. It happened with Journey. It's going to happen with Destined Rivals. And I'm going to make a video later today talking about that Destined Rivals Pokemon Center ETB situation a little bit more, and give you guys my opinions about that sort of thing. So stay tuned for that video. But yeah, Journey Together PC ETBs, just before being released, these were $200 selling all day long on eBay. If you look at TCG Player, though, it is a lot more skewed because there was no listings, and it says $350, but if you go on eBay, they were selling for $200. But look how much they dropped, and look how much got sold. They dropped on release day. In the average price was around $165, and what are they at currently? $154. So they've dropped a pretty significant amount. 200 to now $150. That's like a 25% drop. Pretty big, considering that 200 and 25% $50 drop is pretty large. So PC ETBs, even though they aren't exclusive, and you may have that sort of, I guess, FOMO or whatever, that you're not going to get it, right? You're not going to get it a restock because it's not happening with these sets. So you got to pre-order now. Well, it seems like in history, and it also happened with Prismatic, like I said, they drop a lot because people, they just flip them. They bought them at $65 or 60, whatever it is, right? And they're able to more than double their money. People are going to sell, undercut the market a little bit, flip it, and make big margins. And they don't really care if they have to sell a little bit under market because they're making good money anyways. I think the same thing's going to happen with Destined Rivals, and I think it's going to happen even more than what we've seen with Journey Together, possibly. And like I said, making a video a little bit later about that, so don't want to really spoil it. But yeah, even PC ETBs drop a bunch after being released. So kind of the same thing. With the price drops, it's pretty much almost guaranteed to happen. So Destined Rivals, if you're planning on buying these, I'd be very careful pre-ordering at whatever price point you're paying, because they do tend to drop a good amount after the release. Now, when you look at Journey Together, the price of the cards continue to drop. Right now the total set value is at 1,200. I believe a few days ago it was at 13 or 1,400, so it is continuing to drop. Honestly, I could see this total set value probably dropping above 1,000, just in my opinion, based on how things are going with Journey Together. Just the pull rates seemingly are easier, even though data shows that it's pretty much the same as any other set, but there's less cards in the set. Therefore, there's just more of the cards, each card printed, so they are decreasing in value. Now, just to do an overview and look at the prices of Destined Rivals products and kind of use the information we've gathered from Journey Together with the price drops we've seen. Booster boxes. Now, like I said with Journey Together, they didn't drop much. They dropped from 250 to 220. Big deal, right? It's not a big drop. Destined Rivals, though, I think could be an anomaly. Why? Because they're insanely priced, right? Like I said, Journey Together was 250 just before being released. These are 300 plus before being released, and we are still 2 months away from the release of this set. So the higher this price goes, it's possible that the higher chance that the prices will drop more than we've ever seen, because I've talked about it. There's something called buyer fatigue. People, when prices get so high, especially for newly released products, how many people are really going to pay $400 for a normal booster box? And when people get their pre-orders and they figure out we can't sell it for $400, that's when people start, lowering the price, and that's how things start to go down. So Destined Rivals, even though we can use that sort of data from Journey Together and even Surging Sparks, where prices didn't drop a bunch compared to the pre-order price, I would be very careful with Destined Rivals because the price points are nothing like we've seen ever before. So this could be an anomaly where prices drop tremendously. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying to just not be surprised if it does happen. So Destined Rivals is a little bit of a different situation with the booster box. I do heavily believe that it's very possible that they're going to drop more than we've seen with these previous sets. So be careful. It's honestly really hard to gauge what an accurate or what a reasonable price to pay for this booster box is, because honestly, by the time the set gets released, it's very possible this box could be $400+, right? And if it's at that price point, maybe buying at $300 when you had the chance, maybe that was a good idea, because maybe it drops at $350. It's really hard to gauge this stuff. But I would just be careful, maybe not go too heavy. If you want to buy one, maybe you find a pre-order somewhere for $300 flat and you trust the place. Maybe buying one isn't the worst idea, just to have one secured. But buying large amounts at these prices could be very risky, so just be careful. Now, going on to these other products, I think these ones are the obvious ones I've explained before. These ones are going to drop a bunch. It doesn't matter, it's the most hyped up thing ever. ETBs, all these other products you can find at retail shelves, they will drop a lot. And I'm telling you, it's going to happen. It happened with Journey Together. It happened with Prismatic. It happened with, not really with Surging, because Surging wasn't crazily expensive, but it's going to happen tremendously with this set. I'm telling you. So buying this ETB right now at over triple MSRP, when people find them at retail shelves, this thing is going to drop a lot, okay? Whatever price points I now people are paying, these insane prices, as you can see, $180. Guys, if Prismatic, a set that's the total set value is over $8,000, if that ETB can drop from 150 to 100. Granted, maybe more ETBs are printed for specialty sets because there's no booster box, so that could be an argument. Um, you know, if that set, that strong of a set, an EV set, can drop from 150 to 100, you bet that a main set with booster boxes, the normal ETB that you can find at retail shelves, you bet that will drop a lot, right? So I don't know what it's going to drop to, but I can guarantee it's going to be a lot. So paying triple MSRP right now for this product probably isn't the smartest idea because it's probably going to see some pretty tremendous drops. We saw with Journey Together. I really expect it for Destined Rivals. It's going to happen. So be careful. If you want to pre-order these, honestly, like I said, it's really hard to give any sort of price point or guideline to go off of. But just know that this price is very risky to buy at because the chances that this stays here when the set gets released is, I think, 0.001% chance that it won't drop. So be careful buying this ETB at this price. Same thing with the booster bundle, guys. Prismatic is not even this expensive, okay? $85. I know there's really only like one sale here, but yeah, this is the only sale we have to go off of. I don't know where other places are listing this for, but anywhere even around 80s or even 70s. Guys, this is a main set. Remember, it's a main set, there's a booster box, and therefore the booster bundles, the ETBs, they don't have as much of a premium as the booster box because that's like the main product. So booster bundles at this price, absolutely ridiculous. Same thing, you can find these at retail shelves, therefore gonna get scalped, gonna get flipped. There's gonna be a lot of supply dumped on the market. So same thing, these prices, ridiculous. Now lastly here, this one I'm going to save because I'm going to be talking about this later in another video. I've talked about it a little bit before, but I wanted to kind of give my thoughts about this PC ETB situation and what it could possibly mean for just the future of Pokemon, for the future of Destined Rivals, and what may happen with prices depending on what we see happen with, this PC ETB. But just generally, basing off of Journey Together, prices will drop a decent amount for these, whatever they end up at. We barely have any sales data. We literally just have one sale here to go off of, and it's obviously ridiculous. So not really much to say about the prices, but they are definitely going to drop whatever they're at. So just want to make this video a little bit longer, but I think Journey Together is a very good set to look at to compare to with Destined Rivals of what products are most likely going to drop the most, what products are going to drop the least. So that's the end of this video. Hope you guys found it informative. I think these types of things are good to kind of see and take a look at to help prepare yourself on maybe what prices you want to pay, what you think is safer, and just kind of what products maybe you want to buy over other ones. So that's the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.